is when somebody gets something new that he doesn't have, or something that he has that he considers as old, he tends to, number one, break things. He tells me he was trying to take his case off and broke the iPad cover. And that's clear that wasn't what happening. And I asked him to be honest with me and that this was his one chance. And he was honest with me. He told me he had taken his elbow and smashed it. And of course went right into, will you buy me a new iPad? And I was like, I didn't get angry. I didn't get upset. I mean, the damage was already done. Told him no, we're not buying an iPad and it's not repairable. And, unfortunately, he's got no iPad anymore. I brought it back downstairs, left. You could hear him starting to get ramped up because I was hearing things kind of move or, him getting frustrated. But I hadn't really chewed into him being as angry at himself at the situation as he was. I went up and I took kind of a different tactic. He kind of looked really, angry and frustrated. And I said, well, I'm just checking to make sure everything's okay. He's like, go away. And I said, okay. I said, you let me know if you need something. And all of a sudden I looked at him and his body language and I said, do you need a hug? And he took one. What was interesting to me was the importance to him of holding somebody at that point. Him being so frustrated, pent up, that he just needed somebody to hold him and hold him tight. And laid with him for 15, 20 minutes. We talked and stuff, and he was frustrated and angry, and I just told him it was time to calm down, and, we'll talk about it in the morning. And he eventually fell asleep. I think in the morning, of course, we made sure all devices were kind of out of the way, and he came down this morning, again with that it was already set off, because he remembered what had happened. And he spent probably the next 30 minutes trying to engage me in a conversation about replacing and buying him a new one. And said, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for the repair. And what's interesting, what we realized is when somebody gets something new that he doesn't have, or something that he has that he considers as old, he tends to, number one, break things. Which sounds so simple when I say it out loud. So 6 years old, 7. But we're talking about a $500 thing, right? And that's what the tough thing is. And also a pattern of behavior. It's just so tough because as much progress as he's been making, it feels like we're coming up a hill, right? And we biked up the hill and then he does something like this and it's like we fall all the way down to the bottom. Yet he's made all this progress. And what's also interesting to me is how he reacts when he's angry at himself. So last night he realized he was angry at himself because he had destroyed his iPad and he couldn't fix it, he couldn't change it. And his behavior is what escalated, right? It's what became physical. 7 years old seems so simple, but it's so confusing at the same time, at least with him.